pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
The blackness. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Blackness. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Blackness. Never say die. Never say die. Keep on. Never say die. Blackness. Never say die. All of this.
When in the midst of sorrow, you can see up and down. A brighter day tomorrow will bring. You hear the voice of reason telling you this can never be done. No matter how hard reality seems, just hold on to the dreams, yeah. As long as you keep your head to the sky,
You can win as long as you keep your head to the sky. That's what we believe here. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Dr. Nii-Quartelai, your host and White House correspondent for KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union. Listen, I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the socials at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. All you got to do is type in Dr. Nii-Q. I'm not going to throw all those letters at you. Just Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ. I'm the only one that pops up. Let's keep it that way as long as we can. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app. I should say the new and improved KBLA app, because it has a functionality that allows folks to do a host of different things, including my favorite feature, using the open mic feature. The open mic feature. If you have a question for me, if you have a question for one of our guests, if one of our guests said something that is just rattling around in your spirit, go ahead and punch open the KBLA app, click on the open mic feature, and send me a voice note. And who knows, we just might amplify your voice right here on the airwaves. Last but not least, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way you'll never miss an episode. Now, it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. Kicking us off, The Guardian is reporting that the Target CEO is stepping down as the company faces weak sales and that customer boycott. Look, I saw it coming. Did y'all see it coming? I don't know if he saw it coming, but it has come. The CEO of Target is stepping down as the embattled retail giant seeks to turn around its fortunes amid an ongoing customer boycott over its scaling back of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Brian Cornell will be replaced next year by Michael Fidelk, Target's chief operating officer. That's what the company said just today. Cornell helped re-energize the company when he became CEO in 2014, but guess what? He struggled. He struggled to turn around weak sales and a more competitive retail landscape since the COVID pandemic. And sales at Target, which has almost 2,000 stores across the U.S., they fell more than expected in the first quarter of this year, and the retailer warned earlier this year that sales will continue to slip through the rest of the year. Target said that people were scaling back spending over worries about the impact of tariffs and the state of the economy. The company also said that customer boycotts affected sales. Let me say that again for the people in the back. The company said Target the company, they said that customer boycotts affected sales. Now, I have a long memory. You can go ahead and applause. You can go ahead and applaud. I said a long time ago that we shouldn't underestimate the power of the people. Don't underestimate the power of the people. And a lot of people are like, well, oh, why are the people picking on Target? Wait a minute. If my memory serves me correctly, Target was one of the first major retailers to step out front after the murder of George Floyd. You know where the murder of George Floyd happened? It happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. You know where the headquarters is for Target? Minneapolis, Minnesota. They were committed. So they said they were committed to doing everything they could to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in the early days following the murder of George Floyd. Part of the reason why this boycott has picked up so much steam is because Target started acting sometimey. When President Trump was elected, suddenly, oh, well, wait a minute. They're packing up. The DEI bus went off the cliff. And Black people across this country organized. They organized and starting in Minneapolis and the other parts of the country. You know, we've had Pastor Jamal Bryant on this show talking about the call to boycott Target. And a lot of folks said, they ain't going to do nothing. They ain't going to do nothing. Every day we end the show telling you to do what you can from where you are with what you have. And you know what some of y'all did? Y'all said, I ain't going to Target. Some of y'all said, we teach people how to treat us. Some of y'all said, not on my watch. And it's showing up. It's showing up in their annual report. Sales are down. And when sales are down, that means that, you know, that calculation that they do in order for CEOs to get their performance bonus. Well, I was reading somewhere that this Target CEO, he didn't get the performance bonus that he was expecting because Target hasn't been performing under his leadership. That doesn't happen without you. So as much as people want to make you think that you're powerless, as much as people want to make you think that their whims, their desires are inevitable and there's nothing you can do about it, I want you to hold on to this moment. Hold on to this moment and be reminded that you have power. You have agency. I think it was the great Alice Walker, the author of The Color Purple, who said that the fastest way that people give away their power is by first believing that they have none. You have power. We have power. And the story of Target that is still being written is a demonstration of that. In other news, the TSA has banned these new items. If you are traveling with them, you may want to think twice. People magazine is saying that the TSA and Federal Aviation Administration has made an update to their prohibited items list. The new items include cordless curling and flat irons with gas cartridges, butane-filled curling and flat irons, and gas refill cartridges for those devices. You might remember that earlier this year, the TSA and the Department of Homeland Security had made changes to its decades-long shoes-off travel policy. And so beware. Make sure you go to the TSA website so you ain't having to throw away a perfectly good flat iron I don't need one, but I have sympathy for anyone who has to throw one away. Look, you ain't throwing away this next item, Google's Pixel 10 phone. It raises the ante on artificial intelligence. The Chicago Tribune is reporting that Google today unveiled a new lineup of Pixel smartphones injected with another dose of artificial intelligence that's designed to do everything from fetch vital information stored on the devices to help improve photos as they're being taken. You don't say. The AI expansion on the 4 Pixel 10 models amplifies Google's efforts to provide, and dare I say, really broaden the use of technology that's already starting to reshape society. At the same time, Google is taking a swipe at Apple's Achilles heel on the iPhone. Apple users, you already know this, but so far, Apple has only been able to introduce a few basic AI features on the iPhone while failing to deliver on last year's promise to deliver a more conversational and versatile version of its often blundering virtual assistant, Siri. And so for those of you out there with Pixel phones or those of you shopping for phones, that Google Pixel 10 phone may offer you what you want. Finally, I want to make sure that we're lifting up our brothers and sisters and siblings that may be in harm's way in the Carolinas. The Washington Post is reporting that the Carolinas will be slammed by flooding and huge waves as Hurricane Aaron passes. Hurricane Aaron is now a Category 2 storm. It's been churning east of the Bahamas. And though the storm is days away from passing offshore of the eastern seaboard, North Carolina's Outer Banks are bracing for serious impacts in the coming days. The storm will pass just over 200 miles offshore on Thursday, but the storm's expanding winds and waves mean that they'll be starting late. They're already starting right now. They'll be starting late tonight, rather, but especially serious on Wednesday and Thursday. Beware of coastal flooding, dangerous surf, ocean overwash, and beach erosion. All of that is being expected. And so we are thinking about our leaders, learners, and listeners in the Carolinas. And we're going to be keeping our eye on FEMA to make sure that any support that folks need following these storms, that they're not given the cold shoulder from FEMA. And if they're giving them the cold shoulder, we're going to make sure that we illuminate that. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, you don't want to miss my conversation with psychic medium Matt Fraser. He is on tour. He's got a new best-selling book, and I have a feeling you're going to want to know a whole lot more about it. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests as we effort to build a more perfect union.
Quartelai, and it's a delight to be in conversation with the one and only Matt Fraser. He is currently doing live events across America and Canada in theaters and casinos. You might recognize him as a USA Today bestselling author of Don't Wait Till You're Dead, Spirit's Advice from the Afterlife. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you.
Well, it's great to have you. And so first things first, let's talk a little bit about your origin story. How old were you when you recognized that you had this gift? Was it a Haley Joel Osment moment where it's like, oh my gosh, I see dead people? Or
that's exactly what it was. No, absolutely. I grew up seeing and hearing The Departed, just like that movie, The Sixth Sense. I was just a little boy when the souls started coming to me. But, you know, when I first started seeing and hearing souls, I had no idea what that meant or what it was. I literally thought that the house was haunted. I thought that where I was going was haunted. I didn't realize that it was something that followed me, something that had to do with me. So in the beginning, I just thought that it was the area, it was the house. I remember being a young boy and, you know, trying to convince my parents to move because I thought that there were souls that were there. Little did I know, these were souls that passed in the nearby area that were just using me as a way to communicate and to speak their message. So for years, I pushed it away and I stopped talking about it because other people just didn't understand.
So, and why you? Like, how would the souls know that, oh, this one right here, this guy right here, Matt's able to communicate to the other side? Like, how did they know that you had that gift?
You know, it's amazing because the spirits know. They know who they can come to, who's open, who can hear them and see them, and who can't. And I'll tell you that even me as a medium today, when I'm around certain people, I can tell that they also are open to spirit. They also work with energy. They also can channel messages. You know, it's just a signal that you put out. And I'll tell you that it's the same thing, the same type of signal that animals pick up on, right? Animals can tell when you're an animal lover or when you're not. You know, it's the reason why dogs know to run up to certain people and stay away from certain people. Same thing with cats, right? Animals are extremely intuitive. So, you know, our loved ones in spirit know. And because I was so open, because I was just that open channel and that open book, those souls on the other side knew that I was the perfect way to get messages to their family here on Earth.
So speaking of getting messages to family here on Earth, there's a lot happening here on Earth. There's a lot of discontent. There's a lot of fear. We're seeing a lot of hate. Have folks on the spirit side, have they communicated to you from the other side any guidance to those of us that are just trying to navigate, the moment that we're living in?
Absolutely. What I've learned from the spirit world is this, and what I've learned through life is this. Right now, we live in a very stressful time because we can't break away. And right now, what spirit tells me is that we're so consumed right now with our phones and with the media, and you can't escape it, right? You walk into the dentist's office, there's CNN or Fox News or whatever it is on, and, there's those moments from all around the world. And same thing on your news feed, same thing on Twitter, same thing on TikTok. No matter where we go, we're seeing things that are happening within the world. We're seeing, really heartbreaking stories. It's almost like those ASPCA commercials that make you cry every time you watch them. Well, now more than ever, we can't get away from those things, right? And that mixed with our everyday busy life, mixed with, the workload that's put on us, mixed with the pressure from our families, it's really, really tough. And it's causing anxiety in a lot of people. It's causing fear in a lot of people. So what the spirit world has told me that it's really important to get back to nature, to ground ourselves. And what I mean by that is that if you think back to your grandparents and you think back to the days that they lived, we often refer to that as a much more simpler time, right? Because it was a time without cell phones, without the internet. It was a time that you could just take a moment and breathe. You didn't feel consumed all the time by, the energy that was happening around you. So part of what the spirit world tells me now that's important for us to do is to take back our energy. When you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling overwhelmed, put the phone down. Go out for a walk without the phone. Get back within nature. Clear your mind. You have to separate yourself from what's going on with the outside world, from your news feed, from all the things that are happening in the internet to bring yourself back to earth a little bit.
But do folks from the spirit world, do they feel like there is some kind of dark energy? I've heard people describe it this way. I'm thinking about something that Marianne Williamson had said when she was, running for office, and she had talked about sort of this dark energy that was upon us. Are you hearing from the spirit world sort of any communications about this moment being maybe a little bit different and urging a bit more caution as we engage with and navigate our communities and the world?
You haven't heard any about dark energy. I gotta be honest. The spirit world doesn't speak about that, nor do they speak about like politics and things that are going on right now, because it's a lesson for us to learn through and to live through here on earth. But what I can tell you is that I think that people are feeling that because they're feeling that sense of fear, anxiety, and panic. And I think everybody today has anxiety. Everybody today has some type of a fear, and they don't know where it's coming from. Well, fear and anxiety is caused by uncertainty, right? It's also caused by you witnessing something or being afraid of something that is about to happen. For example, you may have seen your mom and dad go through a horrific divorce, and now you have anxiety over relationships. Well, imagine that times 10. Imagine you seeing that every day on your newsfeed. For example, I just had to tell my wife the other day, because we have small kids at home, right? And she was scrolling through TikTok, and all that was coming up in the newsfeed was sick kids about, watch out for this, watch out for that. What if this happens? What if that happens? And she was getting so much anxiety watching it. But I was like, you have to put that away. You have to disconnect. Every situation is different. Just because something happens in someone's life doesn't mean it's going to happen within your life. But, because we watch and consume content with other people that are going through hardships and challenges and struggles, when we see those challenges and struggles, we say, what if that would have happened to me? And we instantly relate with that person. And we instantly put ourselves in those shoes. And we're doing that all the time without even realizing it.
Matt, let's talk about your faith, because I think there is a preconception that people have out there that that mediums and that psychics, somehow you are not believers in Christ, believers in whatever the faith tradition is. And so I want to give you an opportunity to sort of set the record straight in terms of what your faith journey has been and how you, sort of reconcile, if you feel the need to, your faith with your abilities as a psychic.
So I can tell you that I was born and raised Catholic. I got my communion. I went through all the steps, got my confirmation, did everything with the Catholic Church. and my mom and my grandmother the same. And my mom and my grandmother are also mediums, but never talked about it because of their faith. You know, souls would come to them, souls would speak to them, souls would connect with them. And my mom and my grandmother back in those days were so afraid of what people would say about them or how people would talk about them that they kept it a secret for many years. But this wasn't a gift that they went after, right? It was something that found them. And then when I was growing up and the souls started talking to me, I was different. I wanted to learn. Why were these souls coming to me? Why were they talking to me? What was this? And I'll tell you that I realized that there are many things that I've learned as a medium that don't go hand in hand with what I've learned with my, Catholic upbringing. But I can tell you that I've learned so much about other religions and my own religion and what I've learned from the spirit world. And listen, it doesn't matter if you're Jewish, if you're Catholic, if you're Christian, if you're Muslim. There's only one heaven. That's what I've learned. And I've also learned the fact that, it's not exactly what we think. And what I mean by that is that I've had so many people come to me over the years, that have just been in the roughest of the rough places, meaning that, there was a woman who came to me who had lost her son. Her son had committed suicide. And she was told that her son was not going to go to heaven because of the way that he died. He struggled for mental illness, committed suicide. And it was just this hurt and this pain and this, fear that she had of never seeing her son again. There was another person who came to me, who was happily gay and married, and was so afraid that he was not going to make it to the other side because he married a man. Well, this is not what I've seen as a medium. I can tell you that, connecting with the other side, I've seen gay couples come through, pets come through. That's another thing. A little girl came to me screaming, crying because her teacher at school, she went to a Catholic school, and said that there was no such thing as pets in the afterlife. Well, I've seen all of these things. I've seen them through my visions. I've seen them through my work as a medium. I've connected. I've talked with these souls that have made it to the other side. So there are some times where what I do contradicts, what I've learned in textbook from, my beginning journey of being Catholic. But I can tell you that I don't consider myself just Catholic today. I consider myself spiritual because I can tell you that I've learned so much from every different religion. And I can tell you that there is not just, one way to heaven. There's many paths.
The audience is listening. Thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. A Miami-Dade judge once convicted killer Antoine Reagan, who was Black, in court Friday, reminding him to take his medication so his upcoming trial is not delayed.
It appears as if Mr. Reagan may not be taking his medications.
Reagan, already serving life for a 2013 motel murder, now faces charges in a nail salon robbery that killed a 10-year-old boy. Several allies of Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams are reportedly facing new corruption charges just months before his re-election bid. Those indicted include former advisor Ingrid Lewis Martin and her son, former state senator Jesse Hamilton, and donors Gina and Tony Argento. And Black Maryland Governor Wes Moore is appealing FEMA's denial of disaster aid after May flooding in western Maryland. Damages in Allegheny and Garrett counties now total nearly $34 million, almost 3 times the federal threshold for assistance. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
In Chino, a stalled-out sweeper on the 60 eastbound before Central is taking out the second lane from the left, serving up a slow drive from the 71. Also in Industry, a crash 605 northbound before the 60, taking out the carpool and the left lane. That drive loads up away from Whittier Boulevard. It's tough in Outwater Village with a stall on the 2 southbound before Fletcher Drive. They're clearing it out of the left lane. That drive is slow-moving, getting away from Verdugo Road.
Ignite your afternoons at Waba Grill's $5 happy hour with our 5-piece pork veggie dumplings and a value-sized premium beverage drink, like our tangy passion fruit lemonade. Enjoy $5 happy hour weekdays after 3 p.m. Only at Waba Grill.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Tiger Woods has been named chairman of a 9-person committee given the task of making significant changes for the PGA Tour. The 15-time major champion will lead the Future Competition Committee to recommend improvements for fans, players, and sponsors. African-American tennis star Coco Gauff is looking for her third coach in 2 years. Gauff, ranked number 3 in the world, fired her coach Matthew Daley just 4 days before her first-round match Sunday in the U.S. Open in New York City. Daley confirmed Gauff's decision Wednesday morning to a tennis journalist. The 21-year-old Gauff has yet to comment on her preference for a new coach. Jackson State, the defending Black college football national champion, is favored to repeat as champions of the SWAC conference. Jackson State was 12-2 overall last year and 8-0 in the SWAC. They kick off the 2025 season August 30th against Hampton. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Here come the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power.
Become a U.S. citizen with the help of the Los Angeles Public Library. Get free and confidential information on immigration and citizenship. Visit lapl.org/NAI to find your nearest library or call us at 213-228-7390. That's lapl.org/NAI or 213-228-7390 and start your path to becoming a U.S. citizen with the help of the Los Angeles Public Library. Call 213-228-7390 or visit lapl.org/NAI.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me.
National news of consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You mentioned that you essentially are at least a third generation medium. And I think you have 2 small kids. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so what are the odds that, one of your kids may also be a medium? And are you prepared, to father, a young medium and sort of teach them the ropes?
I'm not prepared. I got to be honest with you. I'm not even having this gift. I often question that, like what I would do, what I would say differently than my own parents. And I got to be honest with you. Psychic mediumship is hereditary, but it doesn't always follow the bloodline. For example, my grandmother was a medium. My mom was a medium. My sister is not a medium. My sister, doesn't even consider herself intuitive. And it's funny because when people find out she's my sister, people be like, oh my God, she sense or feel something, or, ask her a question, or, ask her about something. And my sister just has never been tuned in that way. However, I've noticed that with my son, Royce, he's been having some of the same things that I grew up with. And I got to tell you, it's a little bit creepy. Watching him go through, it's like looking in a mirror, like watching him go through some of the things that I did as a kid. For example, not too long ago, my wife and I, we were woken up in the middle of the night and we heard talking and we're like, what is that? And we went and looked at the baby monitor and he was up in his crib Now, mind you, the lights were completely dark. We have the sound machine on for him so he can sleep, because that's what we do today, right? And the lights were completely dark. He was in his bed, sitting up, and he was reaching for someone and just having this full blown out conversation. And it wasn't scary to him. He wasn't crying or screaming, but he was there and touching something. And I was at that moment, I'm like, what do I do? Do I run in there? Do I stop this? Do I, talk to him through the monitor? I didn't know what to do. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just see what happens. And he laid back down and he went back to bed, and he didn't remember it in the morning. But he had that communication. And it's interesting because now I've taught this for many years about psychic children and kind of, what the things to look for. And I can tell you that we all start out seeing and hearing the departed. Being 3 years old, around that time we'll have an otherworldly encounter. But not all children will hold on to it. So the kids who hold on to it past the age of 4 or 5, those are the kids that are going to stay psychic, right? The kids who have these experiences that forget about it, or those experiences never come again, they're going to forget that they've even had this happen. So what I can tell you is that I'm more curious than ever. I'm curious to see, will he hold on to it? Will this be something that he connects with later on in the future? Or is it something that's going to slip away?
That's so interesting. I mean, and I think I've heard you say as much in other interviews that you've done, where we're all a little bit psychic, right? And some of us sort of hone that. Many of us do not hone that. But talk to us about, what you mean in a very everyday sort of sense of, all of us being a little bit psychic, all of us having those moments where maybe there's an opportunity to connect, but we don't think of it as a psychic ability. We just think about it as intuition or something else.
So intuition, I feel like, is so labeled wrong, because intuition is your psychic ability. That feeling that you get, those messages that you get, they're messages, and they're being sent from somebody. They're being sent from your angels, your spirit guides, or your loved ones. So to put it into perfect context, this happens all the time with relationships. Relationships are the number one battle that people are facing here in life. Everybody wants to find their soulmate. Everybody wants to find love. But, we're our own worst our own worst enemy as humans, where we might see somebody who is super hot, super sexy, someone that we're really physically connected to, and we do everything to make it work. But your intuition is saying, listen, you might find them attractive, you might be having fun with them, but this isn't the one. This isn't going to be your wife. This isn't going to be your husband, right? And we ignore what our intuition is telling us. For example, how many people who are listening here have had an experience where they thought they found the one because they were just infatuated with that person. They just wanted to spend time with that person. There was everything that was there, right? This person had a good job, a good life, a good family, all of these things. But yet there's something on the inside of you saying, it's not going to work. He's lying, or he's not telling you the truth, or something else is there, right? And we ignore that because we listen to what our brain is telling us. Well, those little tiny messages, that little tiny voice is your intuition. It's your own psychic ability, and someone is sending you that message. It could be a grandmother that passed. It could be a grandfather that passed. It could be a spirit guide, an angel. We're not meant to live life here on earth alone. And all of those moments when you say, I knew that was going to happen, when you heard that little voice, was a message from spirit.
So even as you describe that, Matt, I'm thinking about a scene from the hit movie, The Piano Lesson, the August Wilson play that was turned into a movie, The Piano Lesson, with John David Washington and Danielle Deadwyler. And there's a scene in that film towards the end where, they're sort of, having a situation, and they are inviting the ancestors into the space to help push out sort of an evil spirit. And so Danielle Deadwyler is playing this piano, and it is summoning the ancestors. Talk to us about the power that we all have to summon the ancestors, not just, our recently departed loved ones, but folks along our bloodline that, as you mentioned, continue to look out for us sort of, in perpetuity.
Well, it's not the word summon, right? I think summon makes it sound spooky and scary and dark. Where the thing is, when I think of summon, I think about like pulling on a Ouija board, right? And, inviting the souls in. where really you don't have to invite souls in. You have souls that are with you every day. So souls that you have not even met before. For example, a grandmother that may have passed before you were born, a grandfather that passed many years before you were born. All of these souls are there and with you. And they're the souls that are guiding you. Think of it this way. Think of it like a race. So for example, let's say that we're all in a race with one another, with our friends and with our family. What happens is that we're all going to go across that finish line at different times. We're all going to complete our journey at different times on that race. But after we finish, we don't just, pack up and go home. We sit in the bleachers, we sit off to the side, and we cheer on the people that are still in the race, that are still within the running. Well, that's very much what happens within life. We're on this amazing, amazing journey, and we all have different finish lines of when we're going to get to the other side. But your loved ones just don't walk away and abandon you. They're there and with you. They're on the sidelines through every big moment, through every big challenge, through every event. And you don't have to summon them. You actually can just talk to them. And that's the easiest way to sense and feel your loved ones with you. When you have conversations with them, when you talk with them, what you're doing is you're inviting them in. And also at the same time, when you're speaking to them, you're actually going and getting messages from them, meaning that when you could connect with your loved ones, they will send a message back to you, whether it be through a sign, whether it be through another person, whether it be through a coincidence. There is no such thing as coincidence in my world, but there are divine ways that your loved ones will use to reach you and speak to you from spirit. And you're going to look out for those synchronicities.
Wow. I like that. I like that thought that they're rooting for you. They're sitting in the bleachers and they are rooting for you. Wow, this is really fascinating.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. I can tell you, I love what I do because, life is hard. Life is difficult. We talked about this. We talked about the anxiety that people face, the fear that people face, the feeling that I'm all alone. I'm in this by myself. Well, you're not. And that's what I want to teach people as a medium is that you were given a spirit guide. You were given a guardian angel. You have souls that are with you and watching over you every single day. And recently, I started to do these things online called guardian angel readings. So guardian angel readings is when you can actually connect with your guardian angel and you can actually hear why you're meant to be here on this earth, why you went through certain challenges and struggles, and what you're meant to do. And it's amazing. When I started doing these readings, people were just completely in awe in a good way, crying, breaking down, being like, Matt, I can't believe this. I thought I was alone. I thought I was going through this alone. And really, I think that that's the number one thing that besides anxiety that people are facing today is feeling lonely, feeling left out, feeling like they're by themselves. And that's the reason why, these messages are so important because it shows you that you're truly never alone. Your loved ones are always with you.
Wow. In our remaining minutes with you, Matt, and I appreciate you mentioning the guardian angel readings. I think that's absolutely fascinating. Never really thought about that until you just mentioned it. But talk to us about the ethics that governs how you do your work. I've talked to other psychics who've said that even if somebody's communicating from the other side, they will not share it with someone unless they are open to receiving that message for fear that it may cause more harm than good. Talk to us about some of the ethics that govern how you wield your gift.
Also, the souls will tell you, right? And the thing is that I go through my own set of ethics that I've learned from my mom. My mom told me you can say anything to anybody as long as it comes from a good place, as long as it comes from your heart and wanting to help. So the thing is that the souls will tell me who's open, who's not. And what I mean by that is that I can't control when a message comes through. So for example, if I'm out and about and someone's grandmother is there or a daughter that's there that passed or husband that's there that passed, and they have a message and they tell me, hey, you need to tell my daughter this, I have to go and tell their daughter this or their mother this, because I've learned from the other side that the souls know who's open. The souls know if you're open and if you're not. And some people will tell me, oh, I'm not open to hearing a message, but they truly are. For example, there's many YouTube videos that you can see on me reading skeptics, reading non-believers who, were reluctant to hear a message, didn't think that they were open. And all of a sudden someone came through and it completely changed their world. So I let the other side decide, right? And that's why I tell people, if you're feeling like you're not open or you're not ready, come to an event and see what happens. Because if your loved one has a message for you, and if you are open, they will deliver it. If you're not, meaning that you're in pain or grief or going through hurt, they won't come through for you. So I let the other side be the deciding factor.
Our thanks to Matt Fraser, who's currently doing live events across America and Canada. He is a USA Today and New York Times bestselling author of Don't Wait Till You're Dead, Spirit's Advice from the Afterlife. You can go to mattfraser.com to tap in to all the great work he's doing. Thank you so much for joining us, Matt.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you. Working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and it's time for the quiet part out loud. Now, so many of you already know that when I'm off air, one of the joys of my life is teaching. I'm a professor over at Pepperdine University in the Graduate School of Education and Psychology. And when I saw this most recent headline, I thought, what would I do? What would I do? And as I share this story with you, I want you to keep in mind, what would you do if this was your situation? Or maybe if this was your teacher? You see, the Washington Post is reporting that Oklahoma will test some incoming teachers with an America First exam. Let me explain. Teachers from New York and California who apply to teach in Oklahoma will now have to answer questions meant to screen out woke indoctrination with left-wing views. It's the latest attempt by Oklahoma officials to push the state's education system rightward. Now, the test, 50 questions, will cover topics about the U.S. government, religion, and gender. This is all according to examples that were shared by the Office of the Superintendent of Public Instruction, Ryan Walters, who's a Republican. Teachers' unions have criticized the move as a political stunt that will discourage applicants as Oklahoma already faces a teacher shortage. You see, Walters announced plans to administer this test at a state education board meeting in July, in which he said California and New York, the nation's two largest blue states, have teaching standards considered antithetical to Oklahoma's. Prager University, a nonprofit that produces educational materials emphasizing patriotic and conservative views, guess what they did? They developed the exam. Walters has courted controversy for previous efforts to shape Oklahoma schools, including distributing Bibles in classrooms and backing proposals to teach high schoolers that there were discrepancies in the 2020 election. He also supported the unsuccessful effort to create the nation's first public religious charter school in Oklahoma that culminated in a deadlocked Supreme Court ruling in May. Walters told the Education Board that its members will not have a chance to review the test for teacher candidates before it's implemented. That doesn't seem quite fair. Chris Van DeHindy, a board member, he asked Walters in July to ensure that the policy, quotes, passes legal muster. The requirement went into effect over the summer, but Walters says the test is being finalized. Applicants from New York and California receive notice that they will not be accepted until they complete the exam once it's ready. Walters said he hoped the exam would be released soon. This is what's happening right here in the United States of America. The Oklahoma State Department of Education shared 5 examples, 5 sample questions from a multiple choice test just this past Monday, covering topics such as the Constitution, the makeup of Congress. Oklahoma already requires new teachers to take a U.S. citizenship test, which covers civic topics to complete their certification. Walters said that the test for California and New York teachers would also focus on the biological differences between the two genders. And so I was reading this and, it really made me wonder, well, what are some other questions that are on the test? And how well would we all fare if we took this test? And so here are some of the questions from the test. What are the first 3 words of the Constitution? Right? In God we trust, life, liberty, happiness, the United States, we the people. We all know it's we the people. Okay, great. But other questions include, why is freedom of religion important to American identity? Another question, what are the 2 parts of the U.S. Congress? Okay, that's innocent. How many U.S. senators are there? Okay, got you. Why do some states have more representatives than others? And so those are some of the questions, but why are they even asking? Why are we creating or allowing them to create a whole nother set of hurdles for applicants to teach in public schools that happen to be from California or New York? My suspicion is that this is a test case. My suspicion is that today it's Oklahoma. Tomorrow it is a red state near you, if it's not a red state that you live in. This is intended to punish teachers from California and New York. And by the way, today it's California, New York. Tomorrow it could just as easily be Illinois It could just as easily be Connecticut. It could be Massachusetts. It could be another so-called blue state. But there's nothing about this effort that's about bringing people together. Everything about this is about punishing people that are different from the folks in charge. And this is how they are rolling in Oklahoma. And this is why we need to register to vote. This is why we need to show up in every single election, not just in presidential years, but every single election, special election, midterm election. This is why we need to show up and make sure that the people that are making these decisions about who gets hired and who gets fired, people who are making decisions about what budgets will be spent and what they will be spent on, we put those people there. And when we're MIA, you get people in office that view us as a threat. Not on our watch. Not on our watch. We'll have to leave it there. My thanks to the entire village that helps us produce a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley. Our sound engineer, brother Andy. To our show producers, Faraji, Art, and Journey, thank you. And to each and every one of you, all of our leaders, learners, and listeners. We curate this show every day with you in mind, with just one request in return. Do what you can from where you are with what you have. But by all means, do something. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and you have been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Looking at those cages, I saw young men who looked exactly like me. I saw myself in those cages.
More than 60 lawmakers have sent a letter demanding responses by September 3rd. Today is National Radio Day, celebrating arguably one of humanity's greatest inventions.